I'm Roy Potter, a former U.S. Army Lieutenant Colonel. Welcome to the Potter Expositor. Hi ladies and gentlemen, I'm Roy Potter and this is the Potter Expositor. Today is March 3rd, 2018. And I thought I'd come on and make a couple of announcements about what's happening, what could happen, and an explanation on one other thing. So let's start for the first announcement. Tomorrow, Sunday, Major Steve Motley and I are going to be meeting and having a chat. Basically, it's just a chance to introduce each other and to talk a little bit, explain some things, and take it from there. We don't really know where it will end up, but it could very well end up that we'll be doing some videos together. So we'll see how that works out. He's coming back from a trip to San Diego, one of my favorite cities, and he's done a great job on showing you around if you want to go on his channel and take a look at it. He shows you Coronado, he shows you some of the other areas in San Diego. I think you'll enjoy it. And he also makes the announcement that we'll be getting together tomorrow. That's March 4th on Sunday. So that's the first thing I wanted to bring up and thank him for reaching out so that we can get together and have this time to talk. The next thing is kind of important. We're seeing a lot of ads for crisis actors, and many of you will know about that. This is serious because, of course, there was a crisis actor ad prior to the Las Vegas shooting. There was one prior to the Parkland shooting. And now there are several more around the country. I don't want to mention all of them, but I will mention the one in Houston because the event is tomorrow. Okay? So just be aware that these things are going on. You know that when they have these drills, invariably something happens as well. Instead of banning weapons, we should probably ban these drills because they're always covers for the bad actors and the black hats to do these operations. So just a heads up on that. And this next one, some people say, oh man, you didn't need to bring that up. But, you know, I do believe in spiritual gifts. And some people have spiritual gifts, even if they don't know that they might be from God, the gifts, okay? The scriptures talk about that. You have the gift of discernment, you have the gift of healing, the gift of faith, the gift of prophecy, the gift of visions, okay? So these things exist, even outside of the believing groups, the believers, because they're gifts, okay? And I won't get into the explanation of that. And when I tell you who had this inclination, this insight, it'll probably turn some of you off, but it shouldn't, because it's something to be aware of. There are people with these gifts out there. So Monograph put something on Twitter about, he was asking if any other people like him saw this event where there's a hijacking of an airplane, the old style hijacking. Now, I don't know what that means, but I know about a week ago or so he put out a tail section, I believe is what it was, of an American Airlines jet. And then this thing today. So it's just, again, spiritual gifts can cross boundaries of religions and, you know, socioeconomic systems. Man, I'm having a hard time talking tonight. I have a toothache, so I put some Ambisol on it, so it's made my tongue numb. Going to the dentist here shortly. So at any rate, that's something to be at least aware of. However you want to take it, it's still a responsibility, I think, to bring this up because he's been pretty accurate on a lot of things. And what his real information source is, I don't think that's as important as the fact that he's been pretty accurate. Not all the time. None of us are 100% accurate, but I think that's worth bringing up. So those two things. We have some crisis actor ads. One in Houston tomorrow is the event. and there's some others around the country. So just check your area and see what's happening. If there are any drills scheduled or anything like that, see if there have been crisis actors hired. There probably have been, and you all know what that means. I'd like to really dig into that and really give you a lot of information, but at this point in time, you know that it's probably not wise to do so for a lot of reasons. Just take the concern and the warning for what it is. You notice I labeled this or titled this video, Steal, Steal. And there's a reason for that. Dr. Pachinik and others have been concerned about Trump doing this tariff on steel coming in from other countries. And I understand the concerns that Dr. Pachinik has for that and a lot of other people, because it can start tariff wars. Sometimes it can actually start shooting wars to do this kind of thing. But I talked to a Republican insider, a friend of mine, about it today, which is another reason why I decided to do this video, because I think Trump's right on this one. Well, he's been right on a lot of things. And when I think he's been right, I like to come out and say it. And this is one. This Republican insider explained to me that this steel that we've been getting from China and other places has been substandard. The quality has been poor. We've been having problems with our infrastructure by using that steel, one of which is the Bay Bridge in San Francisco, not the Golden Gate Bridge, but the one that goes from San Francisco over to Oakland across Treasure Island there. That the big, huge bolts and nuts that are used to hold that bridge together have been cracking because it's steel from China. I'll probably get banned just for saying that. But the fact of the matter is I've seen this problem with Chinese products for a long time. And so in order for us to protect our people, both in our defense economy, in our development of our defensive tools, and also for safety in our infrastructure like bridges, cars, things like that, we need to make sure that we have the highest grade steel possible. And our country, the U.S., has been tops in that for a long time. I mean, there are others, but certainly not from the Asian countries, specifically China. So this is, I think, a decision that Trump made looking across the entire spectrum of the problem. One, to protect our steel industry, obviously. But secondly, as a safety and a security defensive issue. I won't go into it any deeper than that. Yes, it can cause some problems with the tariffs, but if you look at the entire spectrum of what's happening here and why Trump made this decision, I have to go along with him. So kudos to President Trump on that. Okay, that's really all I wanted to do tonight. Just bring you up to speed on a few of those things we're worried about, a possible hijacking. I have no, extrinsic proof of that. It's basically just that Monograph and several others have said that they see some situations occurring. And I have to give him credit for that. And the big thing, of course, is the crisis actors, Houston being just one, which again is tomorrow. Check your areas. I know there are about 3 or 4 others around the country. These are going to get worse. The deep state is in trouble, but they're not as vulnerable or exposed as a lot of us would hope. They have a great deal of resources, and they're very evil. The deep state, the cabal, the New World Order, all of that is what I'm talking about, and I think you know what I mean. So heads up, and make sure you're prepping, praying, and staying out of the way, as I always say. And keep your eyes on the horizon and your ears to the ground. Keep your situational awareness. Pass the information around. I know this isn't very definitive, obviously, but being forewarned is being forearmed. Okay? We'll talk about the Second Amendment problems and some other things that are going on next time I'm with you, because those are such hot topics right now. Even my Republican friend in California is saying, we just have to come up with a way to handle this problem. And I agree. But throwing the Second Amendment under the bus every time we have a problem like this is not good, no matter who does it, whether it's for political purposes or for points or for negotiations or whatever. Those 10 Bill of Rights were supposed to be absolutely untouchable. So we'll talk about that. I'm discussing some possible solutions with some other people. Not that ours will be accepted by the people in D.C. You know how that goes. But at least to discuss some other alternatives. So we'll be back on that. But the Bill of Rights has to be inviolate. And I've said that for 30 years, 40 years at least. Okay? All right. So that's all for tonight. God bless you. God bless the Constitutional Republic of the United States of America and the Second American Revolution. And God bless Donald Trump in his righteous endeavors. Out here.